Hi, I'm B from Nectar, and in today's video, with the help of PCBWay, we're 3D printing my Arc Reactor out of actual metal. So, if you watched my last video, you know that I'm 3D printing an Iron Man suit, and Iron Man's pretty iconic for having his central power core right smack bang in the middle of his chest. Before I swapped to 3D printing the suit, I was making it out of cardboard and scratch building, and I kit bashed this little Arc Reactor design here. And while it's neat, it wasn't quite what I was going for. I was using a store-bought ring light that I was kind of too afraid to take apart, so instead I built around the pre-existing case, which was quite limiting for what I could do design-wise. So for the second version, I'm taking it apart, and we're gonna see what happens. After very carefully trying my best to pry it apart without shattering any of the plastic, I discovered that it's literally just a ring light, a circuit board, and a battery. That's it. So now that I know what I'm working with electronics-wise, it's time to make a start on the concept art sketches. Now my suit is my own design, so while I did take an awful lot of inspiration from the first Iron Man movie, where the Arc Reactor is mostly a ring of light with a little bit of metal on the inside, I did decide to just let loose and design whatever the heck I thought looked cool. And after some tinkering, well, I think they look really cool. I've got one that is a sort of orthographic front-on sketch, and then one that was on a slight perspective, so I get an idea of how deep I want this Arc Reactor to go. Now that I was happy with the sketches, it's time to start the 3D modeling. Now, I decided to go into FreeCAD first and design the basic shell. There's no details, there's no fancy anything, it is literally just a basic shell with the correct measurements so that it fits the electronics. So now that I was finished with the FreeCAD files, it was time for the fun part, the detailing. And to do that, I'm going to chuck all of the STLs into Blender. I tried my best to follow my concept art sketches, but due to the way the electronics were fitting inside, I did have to tweak the proportions a little here and there. I really enjoyed adding all the little rivets and details on the front panel, but I gotta be honest, I kind of prefer how the back looks. See, I thought it'd be kind of funny if, for a power source, it had prongs on the back, sort of like when you plug in a phone charger or something, right? And then working off of that, I got all the ring details to build off it, and it's just a really nice balance of asymmetry, but nice clean greebles. It's some of my favorite work I've done. So now that I had a 3D model that I was happy with, it was time for test prints. A lot of test prints. The initial test prints mainly consisted of adjusting the internal dimensions so that the electronics would fit nicer. I kind of got it a little too snug, and parts didn't want to sit quite flush. The later prints, however, were refining the model to a stage where everything was able to snap fit, no glue required. The initial prints, I was expecting to use glue, but I found that the mechanical connection was a lot more reliable once I dialed it in. This is normally the part in the video where I would then print it off, sand it, paint it, and do the final promo shots. But I was thinking to myself, how can I take this project up another notch? And I thought, well, if I could get it printed out of actual metal, that'd be awesome. But I don't have the facilities to do that here. PCBWay does though, and they helped me last year with my matrix, so I thought, let's reach out again and see if they're interested. I sent them some screenshots and said, hi, I'm interested in doing this project, do you think it's doable? And they just said, yep. I mean, awesome, but I was not expecting it to be that easy. So, about a week later, I had a parcel arrive, and all of my prints arrived completely unscathed because, well, look at how much bubble wrap they use. The raw metal parts came out amazing, all the details I added were still there, but on camera it still kind of looked like plastic. So, I got out my Dremel and I started polishing. This took a little while, but I think it was well worth it. It had a nice shiny look now, and to make sure it matches the rest of my suit, I did give it a very basic weathering pass with just black acrylics. That way, all the recesses were sort of nice and shaded, and it also stands out on camera a lot better. So once I finished the weathering pass, the Arc Reactor was done. And I'm not just saying this because I was sponsored. PCBWay genuinely helped me make something that's one of my favorite props I have ever made. The fact that it is made of metal means it has a really nice weight when you go to pick it up. and everyone I've showed it to so far thinks it's something professional that's been cast at somewhere like a prop effects house. So the fact I'm able to do these services online with PCBWay, it's insanely cool, and I highly recommend you check them out. So, with all that out of the way, let's take a look at the final print. Doesn't that look so cool? When I said this is one of my favorite projects I've done, I think you can understand why. The amount of details, the fact that it lights up, all the weathering and stuff, it's exactly how I wanted it to turn out, and I cannot wait to be able to plug it into the rest of the suit. Unfortunately, we're going to have to wait a little bit before we have a chest plate to connect this reactor into. But if you check back again soon, I'm going to be doing a video on the legs, working our way up to the midsection, showing you how all the knees can lock so the suit can stand on its own. So, if you liked what you saw and you want to see more, feel free to subscribe, and I'll catch you next time. Farewell! I almost want it to look like a sort of, I did actually make an arc reactor that can light up. If I remember to charge it,